So I would like to welcome Shaina NC, BJP leader, spokesperson, a very familiar face on our TV screens, and also a fashion designer. I think Shaina, last seen you were teaching IAS women how to wear a sari, right?
I did a show where I had IAS officers walking for cancer. Yes.
For cancer, very good cause. In fact, are you wearing one of your outfits before we go to the politics?
Yes, and I'm not apologetic about wearing nice saris. I think anything that promotes India should be showcased as an international option, thank you, and not just limited to India. So I draped the sari in 54 styles, and I'd love to do one for you, Priya.
Done. For our next show, we'll have Shaina's outfits. Thank you for the offer. But Shaina, beyond, well, both politics and fashion is, at the end of the day, there is also a statement being made.
Absolutely.
So, first, before we go into the larger scale, Shaina NC's politics.
So, I started my fashion career at the age of 18, and I remember when I joined politics 20 years back, I fought my first election, and after that people said, "Ye to sari pehnati hai, isko rajniti ke bare mein kya pata?" I hung on, continued with my profession and my passion, and I think it's very important, Priya, to have a profession because that's what keeps the NC in my name non-corruptible.
No, fair enough. In fact, in the world of politics, Shaina, it's, you know, you've been there, and it's also the age of social media, and you are pretty blunt and outspoken. You know, you do, you know, come across and say what is as it is. Do you face a lot of social media trolling? Do you face a lot of criticism, and how do you deal with it?
Of course, but once you're on social media, you know that you're going to be having trolls and you're going to have fans. So if there's so many people that like you and love you, there'll be so many that hate you. I've learnt over the years to become more thick-skinned. I must say that sometimes I get very sensitive about it. But for a lot of us successful women, we also need to acknowledge a good support system. I have a fantastic, confident husband who's always there. And as women say that, you know, we need women to support each other, I think we need promising men to also support women in odd spots and in difficult professions. So I have no qualms in saying my success is my husband's too.
I'm so glad to hear you say that, because, you know, feminism is one thing, but I think it's also more about equality and being confident of who you are and acknowledging another's role. So I would really like this, the statement that you've just made. About politics, Shaina, the way you see things, you know, we've seen Maharashtra, what has happened. There is a lot of say that politics has now become very cutthroat, as in there's the politeness chala gaya, tehzeeb chali gayi hai. It's becoming very personal.
I think that's really a bad remark because it is the truth. But the fact that you have people who are also aspirational stories is also something to look forward to. So on the one hand, you have to look for these stories of people who have made it. You take like a Gomti Sai from Chhattisgarh who has reached from Panchayat to Parliament, from a jungle to Sansad, and she's sitting and representing us. So that's a great story. But then there are absolute cutthroat cases of the male misogynistic mindset that don't want women like us who don't fit the profile to also go ahead. So yes, it's a double-edged sword where you have great stories, but you have stories of people like us who are still waiting in the wings and trying to fight the stereotypical notions that if you are in politics, you must look a particular way, you must speak a particular way, you must belong to a particular caste, creed, community, which is sad.
Which is sad. But being in the BJP, there is a lot of view that BJP is a very male-dominated, patriarchal society. Though, of course, the Prime Minister is doing a lot for women.
All of politics is.
All of politics is. I love you. I love the way you say it straight as it is. But do you think the BJP is a little, in terms of accepting of women have to be in a certain way, have to be dressed in a certain style? Clothes, talk.
Anyone who tells you otherwise is a hypocrite, because this is the actual truth. You have to look a particular way, you have to speak a particular way. A woman shouldn't be too aggressive, but a man can be. A woman's politics should end at 7 o'clock, but a man's politics should start at 7 p.m. at night. So there are lots of hypocrisies, and yes, it's very, very difficult. But as I say repeatedly, if you give an opportunity, only then can we showcase our talent. And unfortunately, when it comes to representation, even in Parliament today, 11 and 14% is just not enough. We're 50% of the electorate. That's why I appeal to women across the board, every political party, that please join and speak up for women's reservation. Having said that, as far as the Bharatiya Janata Party is concerned, we at least have 33% reservation in organizational posts. That's why women like myself could have been the only woman treasurer, which is also an accomplishment in a way, but there's a long way to go.
But I like your spirit. You said, like a woman, that 7 p.m. thing, so the logistical thing, even as a woman in the media, we have men who sit and drink with their sources and they can, the boys talk and they kind of get a lot of information. But as a woman, I remember one of a former Congress cabinet minister, he's saying, when a woman says, ki aapse akele mein milna hai, then, he's like, the eyebrows start dancing. So do you also have these,
I always say, Bhai Sahab, aapse akele se milna hai. So that's the difference.
That's the difference.
How you conduct yourself and how people perceive you and view you is absolutely in your hands. So I don't buy this logic. Having said that, yes, I do believe that there are lots of situations where you can get completely compromised, but that's where you have to stand up for who you are and what you are.
In fact, I should learn the art of negotiating these. I think there's lots of tips that Shaina NC can give us, which is why it's always a delight to talk to you. So, how do you handle the social media trolling? Do you engage them? Do you, a lot of women politicians, they want to have the last word. And I think after a point,
I don't want to have any word.
Any word.
I just want to be out there saying what I've done and what we are doing and what our party is doing. I don't want to get into any of the tutu memes.
That's so well said. In terms of politics, are there any legislations apart from the Women's Reservation Bill, because a lot has been talked on that you think are pro-women, that or legislation, that areas that need to be handled?
So what our Prime Minister has done with triple talaq is truly remarkable, because if we talk about equality, we talk about respect, it all starts when you are at a level playing field. I hope that in the days to come we have a uniform civil code too. And as far as women's success is concerned, I just want to say, please, all women politicians, support each other. Don't think of your own areas, because that's where we as a community can be heard, and that's where we as a community can be represented in Parliament.
I think well said. Any, just one, few more questions before I end. One last one is the road ahead. Is it going to be politics? Is it going to be fashions? Or is it going to be fashion with a political statement?
It's going to be all and more. Because only women can handle everything. I can handle my profession, I can handle my passion, I can handle my family, and I will continue to do more. And that only a woman will understand. This is a woman-to-woman statement.
Which is why most of the claps are coming from the women. But do you feel कि आपको हल्के में लेंगे लोग, कहेंगे ये तो वही फैशन डिजाइनर, इनको पॉलिटिक्स क्यों आती, कैसे आती है?
मैंने कहा ना, जब मैं आई राजनीति में, उन्होंने कहा ये तो साड़ी पहनाती है, इसको राजनीति के बारे में क्या पता. 20 years down, I'm laughing at them.
And may you continue laughing. Shaina NC, always a pleasure, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Priya.
Where we celebrate
and
women like
Newsec.
Shaina.
Thank you all, and thank you Newsec. And I hope you have many such sessions where women who haven't been heard get the opportunity to be heard. Thank you.
And
thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Sharma both.
For more such videos, subscribe to the Newsec's YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.